So let's allow the head to become nice and heavy, and we'll start to gently roll down through the spine, rolling gently down through the vertebrae. Take a nice deep breath there, and as we breathe out, we'll roll up through the spine. Head comes on top. Last thing of all, we lift through the shoulders, roll the shoulders back and down, and allow both arms to float forwards and up. Breathing in as we float the arms back down and take a little side bend up and over to the right side. Coming through the centre, up and over to the second side. That's it, Rachel, lovely. Good. Coming into the centre, and again, release through the top of the head, rolling gently down through the spine. Taking a nice gentle breath at the bottom. Breathing out as we roll up through the spine. And we'll lift the shoulders when we get there. Roll the shoulders back and down. Both arms float forwards and up. Now this time, let's let the elbows pull down. So the elbows come into line with the shoulders. We'll allow the rib cage to gently rotate round. Pelvis stays nice and still. Breathing in as we come back to the centre, rotating around to the opposite side. As we come back to the centre, we'll take those side extensions up and over. Breathing in as we come through the centre and up and over to the opposite side. As you come into the centre, let that arm come back by your side, and again, rolling down through the spine. Keep that going for me. Lovely. Good. Roll the shoulders back and down. Allow the arms to lift, elbows pull gently down. Rib cage gently rotates around. Breathing in as we return back to the centre. Rotating gently round. Coming into the centre, up and over to the right side. And coming through the centre, up and over to the opposite side. Lovely. Once again, coming into the centre, releasing through the top of the head, rolling gently down through the spine, rolling down through the vertebrae. Arms reach up, bending through the elbows. And allow the rib cage to gently rotate round. Breathing in as we return back to the centre. Rotating gently round to the opposite side. And as we come through to the centre, allow that arm to reach on up. Breath in as we come through the centre. Up and over to the opposite side. And coming into the centre, let's take a little bit of balance work when we get there. So allowing that right foot to gently lift away from the floor. And then floating that foot back down, changing over to the other side. Good, keep that going for me. Changing sides each time. Good. Gwen, I've just sent that over to you now. Lovely, good. Let's see if we can keep those hips really nice and stable and still. And then that knee can gently open out to the side. Drawing the knee back to the centre and floating the foot back down. Changing over to the opposite side, we allow the knee to lift. Knee opens out to the side. And coming back into the centre, lovely. Let's allow the opposite arm to lift, and we'll allow the knee to open out to the side. Lovely, coming back to the centre and floating down. Changing over to the other side. Now, if you've got room behind you, this time we'll allow ourselves to lift up through the leg. The knee opens out to the side. As you bring the leg back, bring the other arm in, and then we'll just take a little push back behind us. And then bringing the feet back together. So again, opposite arm to leg lifts. Knee opens out to the side. Coming back to the centre, arm lifts. And then we extend the leg back behind us. back in. Let's do that once again on each side. I'm going to have to come further forwards. Lift. Knee opens out to the side. Yeah, lovely. And taking that leg behind us. We'll see if we can go parallel to the floor. Oh, blimey, I've found the wall. But my legs are longer than I think. And last one. And extending back behind. Good. Bringing the feet back together from there. Let's take a little rise, looking to work through the balls of the feet. So we'll push into the balls of the feet and the heels can gently lift. And then we're floating down. Lovely. Seeing if we can push into the big toe so that our ankle stays in alignment. If you imagine you've got something like a tennis ball between your ankles that you're trying to hold into place. That's it, nice. And then we'll add a little plie in, a little bend of the knees. So the feet are on the floor, we bend through the knees, let the arms go wide. And then extending the legs, taking that rise. Good. Keep that going for me. And again, bending through the knees. Christian's watching, marvellous. Ah, Trudy, yes, we'll do. We bend through the knees. And push into the balls of the feet, heels gently lift. And again, one more time. This time, heels are going to lower, we'll just take the arms across us. We're going to take the right arm high and the left arm low. So we're taking it across the body, opening out through the chest. There she is. Morning, Gwen. And coming across. Good. Changing over sides. I can see you, Gwen. Good. One more on each side. And last one. Lovely. Let's take that squat action from there then. Hinging at the hips and the knees. So we're sinking back, we're squeezing in through the tummy. And then we're lifting up nice and tall. Let's do that again. So it's a squeeze in the bottom as we come on up. Nice. Good. Just taking one more for me there. And then we'll come into our roll down through the spine and bring ourselves into our push-up exercise. So gently allowing ourselves to roll down through the spine. Oh, you've lost my head, sorry about that. Rolling down, releasing through the top of the head. We're rolling down through the spine. Now, if wrists allow, we're going to walk all the way forwards. We might bring the knees onto the floor. We'll take the hands nice and wide. The chest gently lowers to the space between our hands. We breathe out as we push up and away from the floor. Then walking the hands in and we'll roll up through the spine. Good. Who else have I got? Hi, Yvonne. Hello, 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 hello. Rolling up through the spine, taking that standing position. Nice deep breath in. And again, breathing out. Release through the top of the head, rolling down through the spine. Now, as we come into our push-up exercise, the further forward we take our hands, the more of a challenge it's going to be for us. So the wider we make that angle of the hips, the more of a challenge we'll be finding. So see if you can find the place where it works for you. And that's a place just before the struggle, just before the shuddering, just before, you feel as though you can't control the exercise. Now, if you feel ready to, the knees can lift away from the floor. So you can tuck the toes under, let the knees lift away from the floor, and then it's a full push-up. Same thing applies. Chest is lower into the space between the hands, so the eyes are going forwards of the hands. Walking the hands in and we're rolling up through the spine. Let's do that once more through. Nice deep breath, rolling down through the spine. Now I am watching. Nice one. When you've finished off there, we'll allow ourselves to lower the knees. We'll sit back onto our heels. We'll lengthen the arms, we'll rest the forehead, and we'll breathe nice and gently. And then from there, keeping that squeeze in the tummy, we're going to walk the hands around to the right side. And we're going to allow the left hand to really stretch out and away. So we're taking a nice stretch across the side of the body. Nice deep breath, walking the hands across to the other side. We'll reach the right hand across, stretching out through the right side of the body. Nice and deep with the breath. And then walking the hands back into the centre. Let's allow ourselves to come onto hands and knees from here. So we've got the hands underneath the shoulders and the knees underneath the hips. And we'll be like a nice stable coffee table from there. Let's do a little cat stretch just to get our back moving. So we'll push the back up into the sky, head drops between the arms. And then the head and the tail stretch away from one another, the shoulders glide down the back. And again, we push the back up into the sky, head drops between the arms, tailbone points down. And we lengthen the head and the tail away from one another. Let's do that twice more. And just one more. Now, head stretching in one direction, tail stretching in the opposite direction, and we allow the shoulders to be gliding down the back. With that sense of strength in the core, take a deep breath. We'll glide the right leg away from us, and we'll breathe in as the leg returns. Now really look to allow those hips to stay nice and level. So you're going to need to give a little squeeze in through the bottom as you stretch the leg away. If you feel ready to, as the leg extends, the opposite arm will reach, shoulders glide down the back, breathing in as the arm and the leg return, changing sides each time. Lovely, good. Now, we'll extend the arm and the leg away. As the knee floats in, let's let the arm open out to the side, and then we'll add that thread in the needle. Weaving the hand gently through, breathing in as we return. Changing over to the other side. Opposite arm to leg extends away, and then the knee joins in, and the arm opens out to the side, threading the needle through. Breathing in as you return. Good, keep that going for me. Nice and deep with the breath, that's it, lovely. Hi Margaret, you're here. Hi Mary. Hi Helen. Lovely. I'm thinking that might be Peter. Extending away. Knee comes in, arm opens out to the side. Weaving through. So you know if you're feeling really adventurous, you can keep the leg lifted. So we'll stretch away, arm opens out, and then we weave through. Keeping that back foot lifted if you want to. And then if you feel, or if you want to, you can add a bit more upper body twist. So you can bring the knee in, open up for the sky, and weave on through. Just finishing off the one that you're doing, making sure that you're even on both sides. And then we'll come down onto the floor, we'll come to a lying position, and we'll allow the elbows to go wide, let the fingers point forwards, allow your nose to hover just an inch away from the floor. I'm going to take some work for the upper body. So we're going to work across the back, the upper back. The nose hovers just an inch away from the floor. We draw in through the belly button. So the most important thing here is that we're strengthening through our core muscles and the back is staying nice and long. We take a deep breath As we breathe out, we let the shoulders glide down the back, the head extends out and away, and the breastbone gently lifts. And we breathe in as we float back down. And again, the shoulders glide down the back, the head extends out and away, and the breastbone gently lifts. We breathe in as we float back down. And again, shoulders glide down, head extends out and away. Now, we're not going to push into these hands. I mean, the hands aren't going to push into the floor. We're just going to allow the arms to be very gently resting on the floor. Now, if you want to, as you lift up, shoulders glide down the back, head extends out and away. And we can breathe in as we allow the arms to extend forwards. So shoulders glide down, breastbone lifts, head extends out and away. Breath in as we extend forwards. Now just check out, if there were a little drawing pin underneath your belly button, you wouldn't be hurting yourself right now. You'd still be lifting. Last one. And then allow yourself to roll onto your side. That's lovely, good. So coming onto our side, shoulders are on top of one another, hips are on top of one another. Good. If you can normally see your toes when you're standing, take a little look down and check that you can see them now. You want your shoulders to be on top of one another, so we might want the top hand to rest down onto the floor, but let's just check that we're not, really leaning over. We've got those shoulders on top of one another, hopefully. Taking a deep breath, top leg stretches away. Now, some of my guys in this class, we bend the bottom knee. If it creates tension through the neck or through the lower back, the bottom knee bends. Rest of us, we're stretching both the legs away. Now, as we stretch both the legs away, we want to make sure the top leg is really, really reaching as well as the bottom leg so that the hips stay level. And then maybe that top hand lifts off and rests by our side. Nice deep breath. Top leg gently circles. Breathing out for half the circle. Breathing in to complete the circle. Let's take 4 in one direction and then we'll take them in the other direction. And then we'll circle in the leg back the other way. Lovely, just one more. And floating those legs down, well done. Soften in through the knees. So squeezing in through the tummy. So Christian asked me to go through this exercise and he's watching today, so that's all good. We'll allow the top hip to tip forwards so that we're really overlapping. The top knee overlaps the bottom knee, and then you can stay there as if someone's pushing your top hip forwards. You're squeezing in through the tummy and the top knee's going to lift and lower. So you'll notice my knee doesn't go that high. If I let my hip stay on top, it does go further, but with the hip staying nice and still, it doesn't go that far, and then I really get a sense of connection through the bottom as well as that connection through the core. Yeah, I reckon that's 5. Now from there, let's allow those knees to come back together. Keep them as they are. Both feet lift. And then from there, keep those toes lifted. Both feet lifted. Top knee can lift and lower. So it lifts and lowers. Squeeze in through the tummy, we lift and lower. Yeah, lovely. Now, you've got that top knee lifting. It's not moving. The bottom toe is staying lifted. It's not moving. Hold it for me there. Top knee lifts. Extend from the knee joint. Extend. Draw back in. Lovely. And again, extend. Draw back in. This is our third one. We're going to stay here. Give me a little circle through the foot if you can. Circle. 2. Gorgeous. Last one. And floating down. Well done. If it needs a rub, give it a rub. Give it a little bash if it needs a bash. Best not to ask a member of the family to come up and give you a bash. And let's take hold of the foot. And we'll take a little stretch through the front of the thigh. So we're going to see if we can get that nice stretch down the front of the quad there. The knee is going to come into line with the hip, so we're not letting it point up towards the sky. We're going to drop it down so that it's in line with the hip socket. And the head is resting down. We're tipping the pelvis forwards. And then just take a check in that this top shoulder is not holding any excess tension, so the top shoulder can really release down. And then we'll release the legs. Allow both arms to come forwards. If you've got a cushion nearby, you can pop it under your head now. That's it. And then we're taking a nice deep breath. Let that top arm open. Eyes are fixed on the hand. And we'll breathe in as the arm returns. Good. Keep that going for me. Ooh! Mother-in-law's there! Hello, mother-in-law! So if you want to, either keep that going for me, if you want to, we'll take our chalk circles. So the top fingertips stay connected to the floor. We allow the arm to circle all the way around. You might find there's a little blip moment, and by that I mean there's a little moment where it does a little lift uppy over. That's okay. It'll hopefully get a smaller blip as you work on that. Just one more. And then allow yourself to come up to sitting. And we'll take a nice seated position, lengthening really tall. Ah, my mother-in-law's watching. This will take you back. Mother-in-law was in my first ever exam, my first ever Pilates exam. Lift in nice and tall and let the shoulders glide down the back. So we'll lengthen nice and tall. Let's see if we can allow both sides of the sits bones to be level, really dropping down, allowing the legs to lengthen away from us. And drawing the fingertips in towards one another, shoulders glide gently down the back, beautiful. So we've got that sense of length. We'll allow the rib cage to gently rotate round. And we're breathing in as we return back to the centre. Now, keep this going for me, guys. If you find that in this seated position, you're being pulled backwards, you can grab that cushion again and pop it under your bottom, and it might give you that extra little bit of lift. If it's still not happening for you, by all means bend the knees, and you can get that extra little bit of length through the spine, because we really do want the spine to be nice and long. Good. Now, this time, as we lengthen towards that right leg, as we rotate towards that right leg, left arm is going to reach out and extend towards the leg. So it's the opposite arm to leg that's reaching, and we'll draw back in and rotate round to the other side. Now, I take my back hand and just steady myself on the floor. I think that's quite useful. If you want to, instead of that, you can allow the back arm to reach behind you. And then we're just using those core muscles to really stabilise us. Nice one, good. One more on each side, and if you want, the arms can just go wide. And then they rotate and lengthen. Coming back to the centre, opening out. That's it, lovely. And we lengthen and reach. And then jiggle the legs in. We'll allow the legs to extend out and away from us. And we let the shoulders glide down the back. So let's just take a moment with this hamstring lengthening. So for most of us, sitting up nice and tall with our legs stretched out in front of us isn't the easiest position to be in. So we're just going to breathe nice and gently there, and then we're going to distract ourselves by working through the neck. So head gently releases over to one side, Coming into the centre, release the head over to the opposite side. Good. Do that a few times for me on each side. And then bringing the head into the centre, and we'll let the head gently rotate round. And coming back into the centre, rotating round to the opposite side. Lovely. Once again on each side. And then as the head comes into the centre, we'll tuck the chin in, release through the top of the head, and we'll start to just take a little release forwards over the legs. So we're allowing the head to be really nice and heavy there, and then take a breath. See if you can let your head stretch even further away from you. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Tailbone stretches back behind you. You're lengthening really tall. Gorgeous. And lifting up tall, let's bring ourselves down onto our opposite side. I'm glad I've used the cushion today, because in a class earlier in the week I realised halfway through that I've done the second side. I was on the same side for the second side, which is no use at all. I'm surprised I'm not walking around in circles now. We take a deep breath in, and as soon as we get there, we'll stretch and lengthen those legs away from us, fully reaching the legs out and away. We'll allow that top shoulder to glide down the back. Hips are on top of one another. Shoulder glides down the back. We take a nice deep breath there, and then that top leg's going to gently circle. Breathing out for half the circle. Breathing in to complete the circle. Lovely. Keeping that going for me. That's it, good. And then we'll circle in the opposite direction. So the action's coming right from the hip socket, gently circling around, looking to keep those hips nice and still, shoulders nice and still. The larger you make that circle, the harder it's going to be for you to keep the hips nice and stable and still. Beautiful. And floating the legs down, we'll soften in through the knees. Scooping in through the tummy, top hip tips forwards. So we squeeze in there, and we'll allow that top knee to lift and lower. Keep the toes glued together. So you're making a little triangular window. Lovely. Keeping that going for me. And then as we bring the knees together, we'll glue the knees together, we'll allow both the feet to lift. And just as we did before, we'll lift and lower. Lovely. We've got that nice connection through the bottom, keeping that squeeze in through the tummy. Just 3 more. Hold it up there for me. Both the feet stay lifted, toes stay glued together, that top knee lifts and lowers. So you're really moving from the hip socket, but the pelvis stays as still as it can be. And then we'll extend that leg away. Good. And again, extend the leg away. Just one more, lifting that leg. Hold the leg up. Take 3 little circles for me there. 3, 2. Oh, it's lovely, isn't it? I love the ankle circles. And floating all the way down. Give it a little bash or a little rub. And then we'll take hold of that top foot. So, if you find it difficult to grab this foot, a belt of some sort, a stretchy band, the dressing gown belt is really good for this, or any karate belts if any of you have done karate in the past. Holding onto that foot, stretching the knee away from you, extending the leg away and allowing that hip to tip gently forward, so you get that nice sense of length down the front of the thigh and right up into the hip. That's it, lovely. And then from there we'll release the legs. We'll allow the cushion to come underneath our head if we're using a cushion. And we'll allow both hands to come forwards. Taking that nice deep breath, top arm gently opens as you take that opening up like a book. And breathing in as the arm returns. So as you do this, keep your eyes fixed on the hand. So you're watching the hand as it opens. Breathing in as the arm returns. Keep that going for me. Hey, I've got Jay on the line. Carol, hiya. So this top hand is going to gently circle around. Either keep your opening up like a book going, or if you're happy to, take in that big chalk circle. That's all lovely as well. So if you're happy to, you've got your chalk circles. You're imagining you've got a piece of chalk on the floor. You're circling it around you. Keeping the fingertips touching the ground if you can. Last one. And finishing off there, allow yourself to roll onto your back. So once we're there, let's allow the feet to come onto the floor. We'll let the knees bend. And we'll just allow ourselves to take a moment to really settle down and release down into the floor. That's it, nice. And once again, let's roll the head from side to side. Releasing through the neck. And we'll allow that head to come into the centre. Tucking the chin in slightly, lengthening across the back of the neck. So some of us will want to have the cushion underneath our heads. Others of us will get rid of the cushion and we don't need to worry about it. But if you find that without the cushion, your chin is jutting upwards, I'd put a cushion under your head and it will feel a bit nicer. Then let's focus in on our pelvis. So we're going to take a little rock. Lower back sinks into the floor, pelvis rocks, and we exaggerate the curve in the lower back. So let's allow ourselves to find that place in between those two extremes where hip bone and pubic bone come to level with one another. We'll squeeze gently in through the tummy from there. Taking a deep breath, we're going to allow ourselves to take our knee opening. So hips stay nice and still, right knee gently opens. And we breathe in as the knee returns. Then we'll change over to the opposite side. And floating back in. Keep that going for me. Now, if you want to, you can allow the leg to lift so it comes to a 90-degree angle. And then you've still got that sense of the hips staying really nice and still. Rib cage is nice and soft. And if you want to work with your two legs lifted, by all means do. I just want to get that sense of connecting through those core muscles here, allowing the rib cage stay nice and stable. And we're just testing out where our strength is today. So if in any of these exercises that we do in our classes, there's any sort of pain or any sort of real discomfort, it's always worth making the movement smaller or modifying the exercise, finding the challenge that's good and works for you. Finishing off there, let's take a nice deep breath in. As we breathe out, we'll take our cross crawl. So the right leg stretches away as the left arm extends up and over the head. We breathe in as the arm and the leg return. And then we change over to the other side. Opposite arm to leg extends. And we breathe in as the arm and the leg return. So we're changing sides each time. Lovely. And then if you want to, we can add in that little knee opener. So we'll stretch the leg away, drawing the leg in, and then we can allow the knee to open out to the side and floating back down. So opposite arm to leg extends away. I'm just going to bring the arm up towards the sky so that it can open out at the same time that the knee does. If you want to, you can work with both with the leg lifted. So you slide the leg away, draw the leg in, and then let the knee open out to the side. And then just as I said before, if you want to work with 2 legs lifted, we can do. It's completely optional though. So it's worth finding the level of the exercise that works for you. Now if we've got 2 legs lifted, we're working in imprinted spine. So we haven't got the natural curve in the lower back. The back is pressing into the ground. And we keep the breath flowing. So again, if you get to this position and you've got 2 legs lifted and you find that there's a dome in through the tummy, I want you to work with 1 leg lifted instead of 2. Making sure that you're even on both sides. And we'll allow ourselves to return back to that neutral position. Hips and pubic bone level, feet are on the floor. Taking our knee circle from there, so the right knee lifts, hovers above the hip socket. We bring the calf to that 90-degree angle. We're going to take 3 circles in one direction. 3, 2, hips stay nice and still. 1, and then changing the direction. And we'll see how large we can make that circle while still maintaining stillness through the hips. So if your opposite leg's getting in the way, by all means slide it out of the way, but try to keep the hips and the shoulders nice and still. Changing over to the other leg. So again, we've got neutral spine, rib cage is sinking down. If you want to get that leg out of the way, do. We gently circle. And then changing the direction of the circle. And then draw that left knee in, give the left knee a really good hug, and just stretch the right leg away from you. So you get a nice sense of stretch through the hips, through the lower back. Shoulders glide down into the back. No, shoulders, yeah, they do glide down into the back and they glide down into the floor. And we'll change over to the other side. So draw the other leg in, give it a good hug, slide the leg away. So you've got the right knee hugging in, you've got the left leg sliding away from you. And get a nice sense of the back releasing and the hips releasing. Lovely, let's draw that other leg in so we've got both knees hugging in. And then we can have a little explore of our 2-legged 100 position. So in this position, I want you to start to think about squeezing in through the tummy. So you've got the lower back pressing into the floor. You're going to start to think about scooping the tummy down towards the floor, really energizing down into the ground with the tummy there. Now, we've got that sense of stability, pelvic floor is engaging, and we can allow the arms to just release away from us. So we're really drawing the legs in. We've got a squeeze in the tummy. If you find that you're immediately feeling discomfort in your lower back, work with 1 leg lifted instead of 2. If there's any doming through the tummy in this position, 1 leg instead of 2. Fabulous. Keep breathing for me. So these legs are going to just move a little bit further away from you until you find that place where there's a challenge without struggle. So we want the lower back to be pressing into the floor if we've got 2 legs lifted. And we're aiming to have the knees above the hips and the calf at a 90-degree angle. Let the shoulders melt down into the ground. Rib cage is nice and soft. Breath is nice and deep. We can work with 1 leg lifted in neutral spine or 2 legs lifted in imprinted spine. Take a nice deep breath. Right toe's going to dip down as if we're testing the temperature of some water. Breathe in as you lift. If you're working with 2 legs lifted, change legs each time for me. If you're working with 1 leg lifted, do 5 on that side and then change sides. Lovely. Now, if you feel you want to, and you're working with 2 legs lifted, as 1 leg lifts, the other one starts to lower. So they do crisscross one another in a kind of scissor action. Yeah, one toe's lifting as the other one is lowering. And we keep the lower back pressing into the floor. And the breath is nice and deep. Good. And when you've finished off those 5 on each side, we'll bring the knees in towards the chest and give them a good hug. Well done. And then if you want to do any jiggling with the feet, my feet always want to take little circles at that point. Let's take a little stretch for the hamstring. So we'll allow the left foot to rest down onto the floor. We'll lengthen the right leg up towards the sky. We're going to hold on around the back of the thigh, unless you've got a band or a belt or a towel or a scarf or anything like that. And you can wrap it around the foot. That's it, lovely. Shoulders melt down into the ground. That's it, nice. So if you've got the band, it'll wrap around the foot. If not, you're holding on around the back of the thigh, probably, or the back of the calf if you're a bit more flexible. So from there, we breathe nice and deeply. Let's take that leg a little bit across the midline of the body and then gently out to the side. So you're going to be like a little pendulum coming across. Gently across and then gently out to the side. Nice. And then with the legs still lengthening up for the sky, let's just explore those leg circles once again. So we took them a moment ago with the knee completely bent in neutral spine. Now you've got the back imprinted into the floor. You're squeezing in through the tummy. That's it, Janet, good. And we'll allow the leg to gently circle. Hips stay sinking, hips stay nice and still. And you can loosen the band off so that you can get a really good big circle. See how it feels. You might find it's a little bit more limited because of the tightness in the hamstring, but see if you can make it a really good nice circle. And then we'll take it in the opposite direction. Nice and stable with the pelvis, back stays pressing into the ground, rib cage is nice and soft. Last one, and we'll take that foot across the left knee, let the right knee fall open to the side. I'm getting rid of the band now. I'm going to weave my hands around the left thigh and bring both the legs in close to me. So I'm taking a quad stretch here, a glute stretch here. If you find it's difficult to grab those legs, some people find that by wrapping the band around the left thigh there, they can bring the band in, the leg in close to them, but without having to reach and hoik the head off the floor. So again, just take a moment for me to scoop the tummy down. So once we're pulling the knees in, we want to make sure that we're not doming through the tummy. Nice and deep with the breath. I'm releasing there. Good. Let's change over to the other leg. So the left leg glides up towards the ceiling. We'll wrap the band around the leg. So I know some of you did your Pilates last week, and I understand that you were, some of you were out in the patio, out on the decking. I'm guessing you're not there today because it's pouring with rain. So hopefully you're inside in a warm, dry room. We breathe nice and gently. So from here, let's take a moment to check that the chin is tucked in slightly so the back of the neck is really long. The tailbone stretches away from us. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen through the tailbone. We're connecting in through the tummy, and then let's gently allow the leg to come across the midline of the body. And then up to the side. Taking that nice gentle rock from side to side. Just one more on each side. Lovely, and then we'll take those little circles. So we've still got the back pressing into the floor. We're going to gently circle the leg. And it's as if we're drawing little circles on the ceiling with our foot. And then we'll take that in the opposite direction, taking 3 around the other way. Lovely, and releasing from there, take that foot across the right knee, let the left knee fall open to the side, and if you want to, wrapping that band around the right leg. Oh, hello, I lost my band. And then bringing the legs in, but if you can reach the leg, then you just use the arms. That's marvellous. Good, keep that going for me. So Angie and Trudy, I'll get in touch. And releasing from there. Let's go into our shoulder bridge. So we've got the feet just hip distance apart, and we'll allow the knees to bend. Let the arms come down by our sides. We'll take a nice deep breath in. As we breathe out, we're going to push the lower back into the floor. We'll tip the tailbone up, and then we'll peel the spine gently through, bit by bit, and then we'll allow the knees and the hips and shoulders to come into line with one another. Take a breath there, and then breathe out as we float back down bit by bit. Let the lower back press into the floor and return back to neutral. So again, press the lower back into the floor, and we're working gently through the vertebrae. Good, keep that going for me. Lovely. So we're going to use this as an opportunity to really get that movement through the spine, get ourselves moving bit by bit, piece by piece. If you know that you don't want to be focusing in on mobility through the spine, that's not where you're at, that creates more problems than it relieves, then by all means allow this to be a one torso action. So the whole of the torso can lift in one go, and then it can lower in one go. But if you know that there are stiff bits through the spine that need a bit of TLC, working gently through the vertebrae. Let's add on those challenges then. When we get to the top, we'll add the arms. They can either lift towards the sky, or they may go all the way over the head. We'll leave them there, and we'll see if we can find more articulation as we roll gently down, knowing that the arms all the way over the sky will magnify those sticky parts. And then if you want to, as the arms come back by our sides, we can take that little abdominal curl up. Head and shoulders lift away, scooping the tummy down. And then if you feel you want to, we'll add those leg lifts. So keep the arms by your side when you get to the top, and allow one foot to lift. Now it might be just the foot lifting away from the floor. It might be stretching all the way up and then floating back down, changing over to the other side, lifting, floating back down, and then the arms lift all the way up and over the head, and then floating back down bit by bit, piece by piece. That's it, going lovely, good. Adding that little abdominal curl up in if you want to there. Breathing in as we float back down. Let's do one more like that. Arms lift up. Oh, I haven't done my legs. Oh, I'm going to have to do my legs with my arms in the air. Yes, Janet. The feet come down, the arms come back down by our sides. And we take that little abdominal curl up. Breathing in as you float back down. Now bring the knees in towards the chest and give them a good hug. And you might want to gently rock from side to side. Now, we're going to bring the chin towards the knees, and we're going to rock up to sitting. If that doesn't sound like a good thing for you and your spine, by all means come onto one side, push down onto your hands and bring yourself up to a seated position in that way instead. So once we're there, we'll take our capital C exercise. We're going to lengthen really tall, shoulders glide down the back. I don't mind if Gary's not looking, that's all right. We lift nice and tall, we squeeze in through the tummy and we'll curve into the lower back. And we lengthen up tall. Gary knows that at this point I go around and see what everyone's backs are doing anyway, so it's always good to be able to see the back of you. Shoulders gliding down the back. So we squeeze in nice and tight through the core. If you get to a point where you need to hold onto the thighs, it's fine, just pull yourself back up. But I don't think we will, I think we're fine. We'll curl down. If anyone's feeling really ambitious and they're curling all the way down to the floor, it's a marvellous thing. You can always add the arms in, they'll lift up, and then we'll curl ourselves all the way back up to sitting, she says, optimistically. And let's do one more like that. Hands come onto the thighs, the toes hover just an inch away from the floor, shoulders melt down the back. We allow the right leg to stretch away from us. And we float that leg in. We change over to the other side. Leg lengthens away. And softening back in. Let's do one more on each side. See if we can lift even taller through the spine. Good. And other leg. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do both legs. Yay! Beautiful. And can we let go? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. No? Okay. Releasing and bringing the legs around. Tucking the toes under for me there. Just take a moment in that crouch position to gently rock yourself forwards and back. Forwards and back, good. And then bringing yourself up to standing in a way that suits you well. We'll go rolling through the spine if that's working for you. Head is nice and heavy. Rolling up through the spine, shoulders glide down the back. Head comes on top, last thing of all. Lovely. Once we're there, let's lift the shoulders. We'll roll the shoulders gently back and down. Do that for me just 2 more times. Last one. And then we'll take a nice deep breath in, reaching really tall. Breathing out and we'll let it all go. And give it a good shake out. Give yourselves a round of applause. Well done, guys. Well done. Facebook Live, guys, if you've got any questions or feedback, do drop me a message. Either private message or just link it through here. And I will hopefully see you either on Monday or next Friday. Take care.